Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Wilson, and this is going to be my presentation on environmental security in Fairbanks of Alaska. Through my research, I found out a few environmental threats to Fairbanks, which being climate change and global warming, which is already heavily affecting all of the Arctic, and Fairbanks is a part of that. The next thing would be air pollution, which for people that have lived here for a while, they understand through the burning of stoves and the power plant that there's a huge bubble of pollution that just sits on Fairbanks throughout the year. Um, and the last one would be groundwater contamination, which the EPA has found a third of the wells in Fairbanks have been contaminated with a certain chemical named PFAS. Let's start it off with climate change, global warming. Uh, Fairbanks is warming at twice the rate of the United States. It is also has a permafrost issue, where the permafrost is degrading due to rising temperatures. Permafrost is an essential foundation for many of these landscapes, especially the higher landscapes where people build on, um, due to permafrost being when soil is kept under 32 degrees Fahrenheit for a certain amount of time, and then having all that melt. That would be horrible for if there's a, I don't know, a building on top of permafrost. Permafrost melts, that building is liable to be unstable and possibly collapse. Um, there's an increase in wildfires due to the temperature as well, which makes an increase in smoky days. We're never going to be like California right now, but Fairbanks has been burning 50% more than it has previously over the last 50 years. Um, Precipitation is increasing. A lot of people have noticed recently that there's, especially during summer, there wasn't as many sunny days, but there was quite a lot of rain. There's also, a warmer and drier summers increases the spruce bark beetle infestation. That was just a little fact that I found, but yeah, the warmer it gets, the more spruce bark beetles there are, and the farther they come up through Alaska, which is bad for the entire environment. Um, and there's also an increased travel time for hunting, fishing, and trapping. And their schedule and the schedule is changing for when you can hunt, fish, or trap. That basically means that when you thought that there would be moose in a certain area at a certain time, well, it turns out they were there earlier or they're there later now, which no hunter wants to go out on a schedule and not have his animal be there. Same thing for fishing. It's causing some fish aren't even able to get up through the lakes anymore, or not through the lakes, the rivers, because the rivers are drying up quicker. This is going to be a root cause analysis for climate change. The problem is an increase in temperature, which is widely disturbing everything in Alaska. Um, and then over the last 50 years, there have been an increase of 4.2 degrees Fahrenheit on average. And it's only going to get worse from there. It's just going to keep increasing as long as we keep doing what we're doing. It's affecting permafrost, snow, wildfires, hunting, fishing, trapping, and quite a lot more. The possible causes are increases in greenhouse gases or just the natural warming of the earth. My bet is more on the greenhouse gases, but I wanted to throw both of those in there because those are two possible theories. And I think that the root cause of this is us, the humans, because we are the reason that the greenhouse gases are increasing. And that just so happens to be what is causing climate change to go throughout the Arctic. The next is air pollution root cause analysis. The EPA has found that Fairbanks does not meet the air quality standards. They have requested the creation of the Clean Air Act because of it, and it is due this year on December 31st, 2020. They tried to get an extension on it, but they couldn't. So that shows you how important this is to us. This has been a problem forever in Fairbanks. It used to not be the number one most polluted city, but now it is. And over the last few years, it had been steadily rising and getting more and more polluted. The causes of the pollution are just wood burning stoves and power plants sending particulates in the air around Fairbanks. And people are got to stay warm during the cold, so it makes sense why they have these things running. It's just because of the cold layer that comes around and just surrounds Fairbanks like a bubble. It traps all the pollution in the area around Fairbanks. So when it's cold, it's just going to be this huge bubble of unhealthy air. And the root cause is once again us humans. I mean, there's nothing we can really do about the wood burning stoves. We're trying to keep warm. We can try and create some more energy efficient ways of dealing with this, but for now, this is the way that people are living, and it's just going to continue that way. Lastly, we have contaminated groundwater, and this is the root cause for that. Groundwater is over the EPA advisory limit for a third of the wells in Fairbanks. It's the per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, and that's what's being found in the wells. In 2016, PFAS was discovered in one-third of the 140 wells tested. This amount of PFAS can be toxic with long periods of exposure. Possible causes for PFAS is the foam used for firefighting from 1984 to 2004. Obviously, the root cause of that then would be the Fairbanks Regional Fire Training Center were utilizing PFAS in their foam during drills, and when you spray the ground, it gets soaked up into the ground. So it just through their drills, they didn't intend to do it, but it may have caused contamination of the water. And that's all. So I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation.